The story begins with a young girl's hands trembling as she carefully adjusts the scope on a rifle. Her breathing is steady, controlled, almost mechanical. Through the crosshairs, we see a target hundreds of yards away. She pulls the trigger, and the bullet finds its mark with surgical precision. But this isn't just any ordinary day at the shooting range. This is the moment everything changed. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. We rewind to 3 weeks earlier where we meet 16-year-old Harper Collins. Harper lives in the suburban town of Millbrook, Connecticut, where everyone knows everyone else's business. She's sitting in her bedroom, thick-rimmed glasses perched on her nose as she methodically cleans her grandfather's old hunting rifle. The weapon is an heirloom, passed down through generations of the Collins family, all of whom shared an uncanny gift for precision shooting. Harper's morning routine is always the same. She wakes up at 6:15 a.m., adjusts her glasses, and heads downstairs to the kitchen where her father, Robert Collins, sits reading the newspaper in complete silence. Robert is a man of few words, a former military sniper who now works as a machinist at the local factory. His weathered hands show years of precise work, but his eyes carry the weight of battles he never talks about. Her mother, Patricia, bustles around the kitchen with nervous energy, constantly checking her watch and muttering about being late for her job at the town's medical clinic. Patricia has always been anxious, especially since Robert returned from his last deployment 7 years ago. The family exists in a careful balance of unspoken tensions and rigid routines. Harper grabs her backpack and heads out the door, her thick glasses catching the morning light. These aren't just any glasses, they're specialized prescription lenses that help correct a rare vision condition she's had since birth. Without them, the world becomes a blurry, disorienting mess. With them, she can see details that others miss entirely. The walk to Jefferson High School takes exactly 12 minutes. Harper has timed it down to the second, just like everything else in her life. She prefers precision, order, and predictability. These qualities make her an excellent student, but also an easy target for her classmates, who find her methodical nature strange and off-putting dot as she approaches the school's main entrance. Harper notices Tyler Brennan and his crew of followers gathered near the bike racks. Tyler is the kind of guy who peaked in middle school and refuses to let go of his social status. He's tall, athletic, and has the kind of confidence that comes from never facing real consequences for his actions. His best friend, Derek Martinez, is smaller but meaner, with a cruel streak that manifests in psychological torture rather than physical violence. Harper tries to walk past them unnoticed, but Tyler's girlfriend, Stephanie Walsh, spots her immediately. Stephanie is everything Harper isn't: popular, beautiful, and effortlessly cruel. She has perfected the art of making others feel small while maintaining her image as the school's golden girl. "Look what we have here," Tyler announces loudly, causing other students to turn and watch. It's Eagle Eye Harper, looking for her next victim to stalk. The nickname stings because it's partially true. Harper has always been observant, noticing things others miss. She sees the way teachers favor certain students, how couples break up days before it becomes official, and which kids are struggling at home. Her attention to detail has earned her a reputation as someone who knows too much about everyone else's business. Derek steps forward with his signature smirk. "Those glasses are so thick, I bet she can see into the future. Tell us, Harper, what exciting things are going to happen to you today?" The crowd of students grows larger, forming a circle around Harper. She feels her heart rate increase, but forces herself to remain calm. Her father taught her that panic clouds judgment, and clear judgment is essential for survival. "I'm just trying to get to class," Harper says quietly, adjusting her glasses nervously. "Just trying to get to class," Stephanie mocks in a high-pitched voice. "God, you're so pathetic." Don't you have any friends to walk with? The truth is, Harper doesn't have friends. She's tried to connect with other students, but her analytical nature and tendency to notice uncomfortable truths about people makes them uncomfortable. She's the girl who points out plot holes in movies, who corrects teachers when they make mistakes, and who always knows when someone is lying. Maybe if you didn't look like a bug with those giant glasses, people would actually want to talk to you, Tyler adds, reaching out to flick the frames. Harper instinctively steps back, but Derek moves behind her, blocking her escape route. This is their favorite game surrounding her, making her feel trapped and helpless. It's a form of psychological warfare that Tyler has perfected over the years. Come on, let's see what you look like without those things, Derek says, reaching for her glasses. Harper's hands fly up to protect her face, but she's outnumbered. Tyler grabs her backpack, pulling her off balance, while Derek makes another grab for her glasses. The specialized lenses are incredibly expensive, and Harper knows. Her parents sacrificed a lot to afford them. Please don't, Harper pleads, her voice barely audible. I can't see without them. That's kind of the point, Stephanie laughs. Maybe if you can't see us, you'll stop staring at everyone like a creep. The confrontation escalates quickly. In the struggle, Derek manages to snatch the glasses from Harper's face. The world immediately becomes a blur of colors and shapes. She can make out general forms but can't distinguish faces or read expressions. It's like being underwater, disconnected from reality. Give them back, Harper says, her voice stronger now, touched with desperation. What's the magic word? Tyler taunts, holding the glasses high above his head. Harper reaches up, but without her vision, she misjudges the distance and stumbles. The crowd laughs as she struggles to regain her balance. To them, it's entertainment. To Harper, it's a nightmare. I said give them back. Harper's voice carries a sharp edge that surprises everyone, including herself. Derek examines the glasses with exaggerated interest. Wow, these are really thick. How do you even walk around with these things on your face? Careful, Derek, Stephanie warns with false concern. Those look expensive. It would be such a shame if something happened to them. Harper's blood runs cold. These glasses aren't just expensive, they're custom-made. It took months to get them fitted correctly, and her parents argued about the cost for weeks. Without them, she can't function in school, can't drive, can't participate in any normal activities. Please, Harper whispers, her pride finally cracking. I need them. Do you need them? Derek pretends to consider this. Well, I need to not look at your ugly face every day, so I guess we're both going to be disappointed. He holds the glasses up to the light, examining them like a scientist studying a specimen. The other students watch with a mixture of fascination and horror. Deep down, most of them know this has gone too far, but nobody wants to become Tyler's next target. Oops, Derek says with mock surprise. The glasses slip from his hands and fall toward the concrete. Harper lunges forward, her hands outstretched, but she's too slow and too blind to catch them. The specialized lenses hit the ground with a sickening crack, and Harper watches helplessly as the world she could see clearly just moments ago shatters into a web of broken glass. The crowd falls silent. Even Tyler looks uncomfortable. Stephanie covers her mouth, realizing they've crossed a line they can't uncross. Derek stares at the broken glasses with a mixture of satisfaction and growing unease. Harper kneels down, her hands searching blindly for the pieces. Her fingers find the twisted frames and shattered lenses, and she carefully collects each fragment as if she might somehow put them back together. Tears blur her already compromised vision, but she refuses to let them fall in front of her tormentors. I didn't mean to drop them, Derek stammers. His earlier confidence evaporating. Harper stands up slowly, clutching the remains of her glasses. For a moment, she just stands there, swaying slightly as her brain struggles to process the blurry world around her. Then, without a word, She turns and walks away, using her memory of the school's layout to navigate toward the building. The crowd disperses quickly, their entertainment ruined by the reality of what they'd witnessed. Tyler tries to laugh it off, but his voice sounds hollow. Stephanie links her arm through his, already planning how to spin this story to make them look less culpable. Harper makes it to the girls' bathroom before the tears finally come. She locks herself in a stall and allows herself to feel the full weight of what just happened. Her glasses are destroyed, her vision is compromised, and she's more alone than ever. But as she sits there, surrounded by the broken pieces of her world, something else begins to build inside her. It's not just sadness or anger, it's something colder, more calculated. Harper has always been good at seeing things others miss. Now she's beginning to see possibilities they never imagined. The first bell rings, signaling the start of another school day. Harper wipes her eyes, puts the broken glasses in her backpack, and prepares to face a world that has suddenly become much more dangerous. But danger, she realizes, can flow in both directions. As she exits the bathroom, Harper's steps are different, more purposeful, more determined. She may not be able to see clearly, but for the first time in her life, her vision of what needs to happen is crystal clear. Harper stumbles through her morning classes in a haze of blurred shapes and muffled sounds. Teachers' voices seem to come from underwater, and the blackboard might as well be written in a foreign language. She squints constantly, her head pounding. From the strain of trying to focus on a world that refuses to come into view. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. During lunch, she sits alone at her usual table in the corner of the cafeteria. The broken glasses lie in pieces inside a small plastic bag she keeps in her backpack. Every few minutes, she pulls out the bag and examines the fragments, as if willing them to magically reassemble themselves. The cafeteria buzzes with conversations she can't quite follow. Without her glasses, Harper can't read facial expressions or body language skills she's always relied on to navigate social situations. She feels completely disconnected from the world around her, like she's watching life happen through frosted glass. "Is this seat taken?" a voice asks. Harper looks up to see a blurry figure standing beside her table. The voice belongs to someone she doesn't recognize, which is unusual since she knows everyone in her grade. No, Harper replies cautiously. Figure sits down, and Harper can make out that it's a girl with long dark hair. "I'm Jessica Chun," the stranger says. "I just transferred here from Oregon. I saw what happened this morning." Harper's cheeks burn with embarrassment. "Everyone saw what happened this morning. Not everyone would have walked away like you did," Jessica continues. "Most people would have fought back or broken down crying. You just collected the pieces and left. That takes strength." Harper studies Jessica's blurry outline, trying to gauge whether this is genuine kindness or another form of cruelty. "I didn't have much choice. Fighting back would have made things worse." "Maybe," Jessica agrees. "But there are other ways to handle bullies, ways that don't involve direct confrontation." There's something in Jessica's tone that makes Harper pay closer attention. "What do you mean?" "I mean people like Tyler Brennan. Think they're untouchable because they've never faced real consequences. They pick on targets they think are helpless." Jessica leans forward. "But what if their target wasn't as helpless as they thought?" Harper feels a chill run down her spine. "I don't understand." "I did some research on you after this morning," Jessica says casually. "Your family has an interesting history. Your grandfather was a competitive marksman. Your father was military. And you—" She pauses dramatically. "You've been going to the shooting range since you were 10 years old." Harper's blood runs cold. "How do you know that?" "Small town, people talk. The question is, why doesn't anyone at school know about your odd hobby?" The truth is, Harper has always kept her shooting skills secret. In a town where gun ownership is common, but not openly discussed, she's learned to be discreet about her abilities. Her father insisted on it, saying that people don't need to know everything about you. It's not relevant to school, Harper says carefully. Jessica laughs. Not relevant? Harper, you can hit a target the size of a quarter from 200 yards away. You have reflexes that would make a Navy SEAL jealous. How is that not relevant when dealing with bullies? Because I'm not violent, Harper protests. I don't hurt people. Who said anything about hurting people? Jessica's voice takes on a mysterious quality. There are ways to use your skills that don't involve violence. Ways to make people understand that actions have consequences. Harper feels drawn to this conversation despite her better judgment. What are you talking about? I'm talking about precision, Harper. You understand precision better than anyone at this school. You know how to plan, how to calculate, how to execute with perfect accuracy. Jessica's voice drops to a whisper. You could make them pay for what they did without anyone ever connecting it back to you. I don't want revenge, Harper says, but her voice lacks conviction. Don't you? Jessica challenges. When you were kneeling on that concrete, picking up the pieces of your glasses, what were you thinking? When Tyler was laughing and Derek was smirking, and Stephanie was recording it all on her phone, what did you want to do? Harper's hands clench into fists. She remembers the rage that built inside her in that moment, the cold calculation that replaced her usual anxiety. I wanted them to suffer. And they should suffer, Jessica agrees, but not in the way they'd expect. Not in a way that would get you in trouble. They need to learn that some people are more dangerous than they appear. The conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Tyler's crew. Even without her glasses, Harper can recognize their voices and the way other students' conversations quiet when they pass. They're heading toward her table, and Harper's heart rate spikes. Well, Tyler's voice booms across the cafeteria. If it isn't blind Harper, how are you enjoying your new perspective on life? Harper looks up, trying to bring Tyler's face into focus. Without her glasses, he's just a tall, blurry shape, but she can hear the cruel amusement in his voice. I heard you couldn't even find your way to the first period, Derek adds. Mrs. Henderson had to escort you like a kindergartner. Leave her alone, Jessica says firmly. Who's this? Stephanie's voice cuts through the air. Harper, did you finally find someone desperate enough to be your friend? Harper feels Jessica stand up beside her. I'm someone who doesn't like bullies. Bullies? Tyler laughs. We're not bullies. We're just helping Harper see the world more clearly. Speaking of which, how's the vision today, Eagle Eye? The nickname hits Harper like a physical blow. She realizes they're going to use her broken glasses as ammunition for weeks, maybe months. Every day will be a reminder of her helplessness, her vulnerability. You know what's funny? Derek continues. I bet those glasses cost more than my mom makes in a month. What a waste of money. Harper's hands shake as she reaches for her backpack. She pulls out the plastic bag containing the broken glasses and sets it on the table. They cost $800, she says quietly. $800? Tyler whistles. For glasses? That's insane. No wonder you're so protective of them. My parents worked overtime for 3 months to pay for them, Harper continues, her voice growing stronger. They're not just regular glasses, they're custom-made for my specific vision condition. Boo-hoo, Stephanie mocks. Maybe your parents should have spent the money on plastic surgery instead. At least then you'd have a chance of looking normal. The cafeteria has gone quiet. Other students are pretending not to listen, but Harper can feel their attention focused on her table. She's becoming a spectacle again, and this time Jessica is witnessing her humiliation. Do you know what I see when I look at you? Harper asks, her voice eerily calm. What's that, 4 eyes? Derek sneers. I see 3 people who think they're untouchable. I see kids who've never faced real consequences for their actions. I see bullies who are about to learn a very important lesson about precision. Tyler laughs. Precision? You can't even see us clearly. What are you going to do? Squint us to death. Harper stands up slowly, her movements deliberate and controlled. You're right. I can't see you clearly right now. But I remember everything. I remember exactly how you looked when you broke my glasses. I remember the sound Derek made when he dropped them. I remember the angle of the sun and the number of people watching. So? Stephanie challenges. So I also remember that you parked your car in spot number 47 this morning. Tyler, I remember that you left your driver's side window cracked open about 3 inches. I remember that Derek rides the bus, route number 12, and gets off at the stop by Miller's Pharmacy. I remember that Stephanie walks home alone every day, taking the path through Riverside Park. The 3 bullies exchange glances. There's something unsettling about Harper's tone, about the way she's reciting these details like she's reading from a file. Are you threatening us? Tyler asks, his voice losing some of its earlier confidence. Harper smiles, and it's not a pleasant expression. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just demonstrating precision. I notice things. I remember things. And I'm very, very good at hitting targets. Jessica places a hand on Harper's shoulder. I think that's enough for today, she says diplomatically. Tyler tries to regain his composure. You're crazy, Harper. You know that? Completely insane. Maybe, Harper agrees. But I'm also very patient, and I have excellent aim. As the 3 bullies walk away, Harper can hear them whispering among themselves. For the first time since her glasses were broken, she feels a sense of power. She may not be able to see clearly, but she's starting to understand that there are different kinds of vision. Jessica sits back down. That was impressive. You've got more steel in you than I thought. I scared them, Harper realizes with surprise. You should have. Bullies are cowards at heart. They only pick on people they think can't fight back. You just showed them that you're not as helpless as they assumed. Harper feels a strange exhilaration. For years, she's been the victim, the target, the girl who takes abuse and walks away. But today, she saw fear in Tyler's eyes. She heard uncertainty in Derek's voice. She witnessed Stephanie's confident facade crack, if only for a moment. What happens now? Harper asks. Jessica's smile is mysterious. Now you learn that precision isn't just about hitting targets. It's about knowing exactly when and where to strike for maximum effect. And Harper, she stands up, gathering her things. I think you're going to be a very quick learner. As Jessica walks away, Harper sits alone with her thoughts. The broken glasses in the plastic bag seem less like a symbol of her vulnerability, and more like a reminder of what she's capable of when pushed too far. She may not be able to see clearly, but her vision of what needs to happen is becoming sharper by the hour. Harper arrives home that afternoon to find her mother pacing frantically in the kitchen. Patricia's hands shake as she sorts through a stack of medical bills, her anxiety medication sitting open on the counter beside her. Harper, thank goodness you're home, Patricia says without looking up. The school called. They said you had an incident with your glasses? Harper sets her backpack down carefully. They got broken. Patricia finally looks at her daughter, noticing for the first time that Harper isn't wearing her glasses. Broken? How? Those glasses were supposed to be virtually indestructible. Some kids at school were messing around. It was an accident. Patricia's face goes pale. An accident? Harper, those glasses cost us $800. We don't have insurance coverage for replacement lenses until next year. The weight of this information settles over Harper like a heavy blanket. She knew the glasses were expensive, but she hadn't considered the financial implications of their destruction. Her parents have been struggling with money ever since her father's hours at the factory were cut back. Can we get them repaired? Harper asks hopefully. Patricia examines the plastic bag containing the shattered remains. Oh honey, these aren't repairable. The frames are twisted and both lenses are completely destroyed. She sinks into a chair, suddenly looking much older than her 42 years. I'll have to call the optical center tomorrow, but without insurance, ... Harper's guilt transforms into something harder, colder. Tyler and his friends destroyed more than just her vision. They've created a financial burden her family can't afford. The casual cruelty of their actions extends far beyond the momentary humiliation she felt at school. "Where's Dad?" Harper asks, working a double shift again. The Henderson account is behind schedule, and he volunteered for overtime. Patricia rubs her temples. "I was hoping to have some good news when he got home, but now..." Harper watches. Her mother struggle with the mounting pressure of their financial situation. Patricia has been on edge for months, ever since Robert's PTSD symptoms started affecting his work performance. The family walks on eggshells around his flashbacks and sudden mood changes, while Patricia carries the emotional burden of keeping everyone together. "Mom, it's not your fault. We'll figure something out." Patricia looks up with tears in her eyes. "You shouldn't have to figure anything out. You're 16. You should be worried about homework and boys in prom, not weather. Your family can afford to help you see." The conversation is interrupted by the sound of Robert's truck pulling into the driveway. Harper feels her stomach clench as she hears her father's heavy footsteps on the front porch. Robert has been increasingly volatile lately, and she knows this news will not be well received. Robert enters the kitchen, his work clothes stained with machine oil and metal shavings. He moves with the precise economy of motion that Harper recognizes from their shooting sessions. Every gesture controlled, calculated, efficient. "Why the long faces?" he asks, immediately sensing the tension in the room. Patricia glances at Harper, then back at her husband. "There was an incident at school today." Harper's glasses were broken. Robert's expression doesn't change, but Harper notices the slight tightening around his eyes. "Broken how?" "Some students were being careless," Harper says carefully, not wanting to escalate the situation. "Careless." Robert repeats the word slowly, tasting it. "Show me." Harper reluctantly produces the plastic bag. Robert examines the contents with the same methodical attention he gives to cleaning his rifle. His jaw tightens as he takes in the extent of the damage. "These weren't dropped," he says finally. "They were deliberately destroyed. Look at the impact patterns on the lenses. This is intentional damage." Patricia's face crumples. "Does it matter how it happened?" "We still can't afford to replace them." Robert's hands ball into fists. "It matters. Because someone hurt my daughter and destroyed our property. That has consequences." "Dad, please don't make this worse," Harper pleads. "Worse?" Robert's voice carries the edge it gets when his military training surfaces. "You think walking away from bullies makes things better? You think showing weakness stops them from coming back for more? I don't want you to get in trouble because of me." Robert studies his daughter's face, seeing something there that gives him pause. "What aren't you telling me?" Harper hesitates. She thinks about Jessica's words, about precision and consequences, about the fear she saw in Tyler's eyes when she demonstrated her observational skills. "I handled it." "How do you handle it?" "I let them know that I'm not as helpless as they think." Robert's expression shifts. He recognizes the tone in Harper's voice because he's heard it in his own during combat situations. Cold, calculating, dangerous. "What exactly did you say to them?" Harper recounts the cafeteria confrontation, watching her father's face as she describes her subtle threats. Robert listens without interruption, his expression growing more thoughtful with each detail. "You memorized their routines," he says when she finishes. "Yes, you demonstrated situational awareness and pattern recognition." "I guess," Robert nods slowly. "Good, that's tactical thinking." "But Harper, you need to understand something. Once you cross that line from victim to threat, there's no going back." Are you prepared for what comes next? Patricia looks between her husband and daughter with growing alarm. What are you two talking about? Harper, you're not seriously considering retaliating against these kids, are you? They destroyed $800 worth of medical equipment, Robert says flatly. They've caused financial hardship for our family. In any other context, that would be considered a criminal act. They're teenagers, Robert. Stupid teenagers who made a mistake. Mistakes have consequences, Patricia. Always. Robert turns back to Harper. But your mother's right about one thing. You need to be smart about this. Emotional responses lead to sloppy execution. Harper feels a chill of recognition. Her father is speaking to her in the same tone he uses when teaching her to shoot patient, instructional, but with an underlying intensity that suggests he's sharing more than just technical knowledge. What are you suggesting? Harper asks. I'm suggesting that if you're going to make a point, you need to make it effectively. Half measures create more problems than they solve. Robert glances at Patricia, then back to Harper. We'll discuss this later, after your mother goes to her book club tonight. Patricia looks suspicious. Discuss what? Robert, I don't like where this conversation is heading. We're discussing problem solving, Patricia. Our daughter has a problem that needs to be resolved. The problem is that we need new glasses, not revenge fantasies. Robert's expression hardens. The problem is that our daughter was attacked and humiliated, and the people responsible think there will be no consequences. That's not how the world works. Harper watches her parents argue, feeling the familiar tension that pervades their household. Her father's military mindset clashes constantly with her mother's desire for normalcy. Patricia wants to handle problems through official channels, while Robert believes in direct action. I'm calling the school tomorrow, Patricia announces. I'm going to speak to the principal about this incident. And what do you think that will accomplish? Robert asks. A stern talking to? Maybe detention? These kids destroyed property worth $800, Patricia. They committed assault by taking Harper's medical equipment. It's not assault, Robert. It's bullying, and schools have procedures for dealing with bullying. Schools have procedures for covering their asses. They don't have procedures for actually protecting vulnerable students. Harper realizes that her parents are having two different conversations. Patricia is trying to solve the immediate problem of the broken glasses, while Robert is addressing the larger issue of power and respect. Neither approach feels right to Harper, but she finds herself drawn to her father's perspective. What if the school doesn't help? Harper asks quietly. Patricia turns to her with desperate eyes. They will help. They have to help. That's what schools are for. But Harper sees the doubt in her mother's expression. Patricia knows as well as anyone that schools often fail to protect students like Harper. The system is designed to maintain order, not to ensure justice. Robert places a hand on Harper's shoulder. Tomorrow after school, you and I are going to the range. It's been too long since your last practice session. The range won't solve anything, Patricia protests, won't it? Robert's smile is cold. Sometimes the best way to handle a problem is to remind yourself what you're capable of. As her parents continue their argument, Harper retreats to her room. She lies on her bed, staring at the ceiling through her impaired vision. Everything is blurry, distorted, unclear except for one thing. She's beginning to understand that Jessica was right about precision. It's not just about hitting targets. It's about knowing exactly what needs to be done and having the skill to do it. Harper reaches under her bed and pulls out a small notebook where she keeps shooting records. She flips to a blank page and begins writing down everything she remembers. About Tyler, Derek, and Stephanie, their schedules, their habits, their vulnerabilities. She works with the same methodical precision her father taught her to use when zeroing a scope dot. By the time she finishes, Harper has filled 3 pages with detailed observations. She closes the notebook and slides it back under her bed, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction. Tomorrow she'll go to the range with her father. Tomorrow she'll remember what it feels like to have perfect control over distance, wind, and impact. Tomorrow, Tyler Brennan and his friends will begin to understand the difference between breaking someone's glasses and breaking someone's spirit. The next morning brings a thick fog that blankets Millbrook like a gray shroud. Harper navigates the school hallways using her memorized mental map, her fingers trailing along the lockers for guidance. Students whisper as she passes, some with sympathy, others with cruel amusement at her obvious struggle. Jessica Chen appears beside her locker like a shadow, materializing from the crowd of blurry figures. "How are you managing?" she asks, her voice carrying genuine concern mixed with something else, anticipation. "I'm adapting," Harper replies, fumbling with her combination. Lock. The numbers are invisible to her now, but muscle memory guides her fingers to the correct sequence. "Adaptation is survival," Jessica observes. "But evolution is power. Have you given any thought to what we discussed yesterday?" Harper retrieves her books, her movements deliberate despite her visual impairment. "My father wants to take me to the shooting range after school. Interesting timing." Jessica's tone suggests she finds this development significant. "Will you tell him about our conversation?" "I don't know yet." Harper closes her locker and turns toward Jessica's blurry outline. "Why do you care so much about what happens to me? You barely know me." Jessica is quiet for a moment, and when she speaks, her voice carries a weight Harper hasn't heard before. "Because I know what it's like to be underestimated. I know what it feels like when people think you're weak, harmless, forgettable." She pauses, "And I know what it's like to prove them wrong." Before Harper can ask what she means, the first bell rings. Jessica disappears into the crowd, leaving Harper with more questions than answers. The morning classes pass in a blur of frustration and humiliation. Harper can't read the board, can't see handouts clearly, and constantly has to ask for help. Teachers try to be accommodating, but their patience wears thin as the day progresses. She overhears whispered conversations about special accommodations and alternative learning arrangements, discussions that make her feel like a burden rather than a student. During chemistry class, Mr. Davidson assigns a lab partner exercise. Harper finds herself paired with Marcus Webb, a quiet kid who usually keeps to himself. Marcus has thick glasses too, though not as specialized as Harper's were, and he seems to understand her frustration without needing explanation. "Here, let me read the measurements for you," Marcus offers as they work on their experiment. "Thanks," Harper says, grateful for his matter-of-fact assistance. "I feel completely useless like this." "You're not useless. You're just operating with limited intel." Marcus adjusts a beaker with scientific precision. "My older brother lost his sight in Afghanistan. He says the hardest part isn't the darkness. It's other people treating you like you're broken." Harper looks at Marcus with new interest. Even blurry, she can see that he's more observant than she initially realized. "Your brother adapted?" "More than adapted. He's a computer programmer now, working for a tech company that develops accessibility software. Turns out, when you can't rely on sight, your other senses get incredibly sharp." Marcus measures out a solution with careful precision. He says the key is finding new ways to be dangerous. The word dangerous hangs in the air between them. Harper wonders if Marcus chose it deliberately, or if it's just a coincidence that everyone seems to be talking about power and capability lately. Lunch arrives, and Harper makes her way to the cafeteria with growing confidence. Her spatial memory is improving rapidly, and she's beginning to navigate by sound and air movement patterns. She settles at her usual table, pulling out a sandwich her mother packed. Tyler's voice cuts through the ambient noise before she sees his approaching figure. "Look at that, Derek. Harper's eating lunch like a normal person. Too bad she can't see what she's eating." Harper doesn't look up from her sandwich. Actually, my sense of taste has gotten sharper. This turkey is definitely past its expiration date, but I'm eating it anyway. Sometimes you have to work with what you've got. Derek laughs, but it sounds forced. Still trying to be clever, huh? How's that working out for you? Better than you might think. Harper takes another bite of her sandwich, chewing thoughtfully. I've been noticing things I missed before. Like how Derek's voice always gets higher when he's nervous. Or how Stephanie's perfume smells different today, cheaper. Financial troubles at home. Stephanie's sharp intake of breath confirms Harper's guess. You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? Harper finally looks up, her unfocused gaze somehow more unsettling. Then direct eye contact. Funny how losing one sense makes the other stronger. I hear everything now. I smell everything. I notice every little change in people's voices, their breathing patterns, their nervous habits. Tyler tries to regain control of the situation. You're just trying to sound scary because you can't see us coming anymore. Who says I need to see you coming? Harper's smile is cryptic. I know Derek takes the number 12 bus home every day. I know Tyler's car has a loose belt that makes a distinctive squealing sound when he starts the engine. I know Stephanie walks through Riverside Park because she thinks it makes her look athletic and outdoorsy. The three bullies exchange uncomfortable glances. There's something different about Harper today, something that makes their usual tactics feel inadequate. Are you stalking us? Stephanie demands, her voice rising with genuine alarm. I'm observing you, Harper corrects. There's a difference. Stalking implies following someone around. Observing means paying attention to patterns that are already there. She stands up, gathering her things. You'd be surprised how much information people leave lying around when they think nobody's watching. Derek steps closer, trying to intimidate her. You better watch yourself, blind girl. Just because we broke your glasses doesn't mean we can't break other things. Harper turns toward Derek's voice, and for a moment, her expression is absolutely cold. Derek Martinez, 16 years old, lives at 247 Oak Street with his grandmother because his parents are in rehab. Takes medication for anxiety that he keeps in his backpack. Has a part-time job at the grocery store on weekends because his grandmother's Social Security doesn't cover their expenses. Derek's face goes white. How do you know that? I told you. I notice things. Harper's voice is matter-of-fact, almost clinical. Tyler Brennan, 17 years old, drives his mother's BMW because his father won't let him use the truck anymore. Parents are getting divorced, which is why his mother drinks wine with lunch and his father moves into the basement. Stephanie Walsh, 16 years old, lives in the fancy neighborhood, but wears the same 3 outfits on rotation because her family's money problems started when her dad's business failed last year. The cafeteria has gone quiet around them. Other students are listening now, fascinated by this unexpected turn in the usual dynamic. Stop, Stephanie whispers, tears forming in her eyes. Why should I stop? Harper asks. You didn't stop when you broke my glasses. You didn't stop when you laughed at me. You didn't stop when you made my life miserable for 3 years. Her voice grows stronger with each word. But here's the interesting thing about information. It's only powerful when you know how to use it. Tyler tries to salvage his leadership position. You're bluffing. You don't know anything. Harper tilts her head, listening to something only. She can hear. Tyler's heart rate just spiked. Derek's breathing is shallow and rapid. Stephanie's crying but trying to hide it. She pauses. Fear has a very distinctive smell. Did you know that? It's metallic, sharp, like copper pennies mixed with sweat. The power dynamic has shifted completely. The 3 bullies who terrorized Harper just yesterday now stand frozen, uncertain how to respond to this new version of their victim. What do you want? Tyler asks finally, his voice barely above a whisper. Harper considers the question carefully. I want you to understand that breaking my glasses was a mistake. Not because it hurt me, but because it opened my eyes to things I hadn't seen before. She gathers her backpack and starts to walk away, then pauses. Oh, and Tyler? Your mother's BMW has a GPS tracking system. She knows you didn't go straight home yesterday like you told her. As Harper walks away from the table, she hears the frantic whispered conversation that erupts behind her. For the first time in her life, she's the one leaving people confused and frightened. The sensation is intoxicating. Jessica falls into step beside her as she exits the cafeteria. That was impressive. You're learning faster than I expected. Learning what exactly? That information is the most precise weapon of all. No noise, no mess, no evidence, just pure, targeted impact. Jessica's voice carries approval and something. Ducker, your father's going to be proud. Harper realizes that Jessica is right. Robert will be proud, but not for the reasons her mother would want. She's applying the tactical lessons he taught her about observation and pattern recognition, but she's using them for psychological warfare rather than physical precision. As they walk toward their next class, Harper feels a fundamental shift in how she sees herself. She's no longer the helpless girl whose glasses got broken. She's becoming something new, something dangerous, something her enemies won't see coming until it's too late. The transformation has begun, and there's no going back now. The Millbrook shooting range sits on 30 acres of wooded land outside town. Its weathered buildings and earthen berms hidden from the main road by towering pine trees. Harper has been coming here since she was 10, but today feels different. As Robert parks his truck, Harper notices the familiar sounds with new clarity, the distant crack of rifle fire, the mechanical thunk of target mechanisms, the low conversations of serious shooters. Are you sure you're ready for this? Robert asks as they gather their equipment from the truck bed. Harper hefts her rifle case with practiced ease. I need this. After what happened yesterday in the cafeteria, I need to remember what control feels like. Robert studies his daughter's profile, noting the subtle changes in her posture and demeanor. You handled those kids well. Your mother told me what she heard from other parents. Word travels fast in a small town. It does. Tyler Brennan's mother called your mother this morning. Apparently, Tyler came home very upset yesterday. Robert's tone is neutral, but Harper detects approval underneath. She wanted to know what you said to her son. Harper feels a flicker of anxiety. What did Mom tell her? That you were defending yourself after they destroyed your property. Robert opens his rifle case, revealing the precision instrument inside. She also mentioned that Mrs. Brennan seemed more concerned about Tyler's emotional state than about the $800 in damages they caused. They walked toward the range in comfortable silence, their feet crunching on the gravel path. Harper's other senses have sharpened dramatically since losing her glasses. She can smell the gun oil and powder residue that clings to the shooting stations, hear the subtle differences between various calibers being fired, feel the slight vibrations through the ground when heavier weapons discharge. Range Master Rodriguez is here today. Robert observes as they approach the main building. Rodriguez has been running the Millbrook Range for 15 years, and he's known Harper since her first visit. He's also one of the few people who truly understands her shooting ability. Most recreational shooters at the range can hit a target consistently at 50 yards. Harper can thread a needle at 200. Collins family, Rodriguez greets them with a weathered smile. Heard Harper had some trouble at school. How are the eyes adjusting? Better than expected, Harper replies, setting down her equipment. I'd like to try some precision work today. See how much my aim has been affected. Rodriguez exchanges a meaningful look with Robert. Well, let's start easy and work our way up. Lane 12 is open, and I've got fresh targets. They set up at the farthest lane from other shooters, a habit that Robert ingrained in Harper years ago. Privacy allows focus, he always said. Focus enables precision. Harper assembles her rifle with movements so practiced they've become muscle memory. The weapon is a custom .22 caliber precision rifle that Robert had built specifically for her smaller frame and shooting style. Every component has been selected and tuned for maximum accuracy. "Tell me about yesterday," Robert says as Harper adjusts her scope. "The real version, not the sanitized one you gave your mother." Harper sights down the rifle, her world suddenly reduced to the crystal-clear circle of the scope. Even without her prescription glasses, the magnified view through the properly adjusted optics gives her perfect clarity at distance. "I scared them. Not physically, but psychologically. I used information as a weapon. Explain. I demonstrated that I know things about them, personal things, vulnerable things. I made them understand that being unable to see them doesn't make me unable to hurt them." Harper's voice is calm, analytical. Jessica was right. "Information can be more precise than any bullet," Robert nods approvingly. "Psychological warfare is often more effective than physical confrontation. What's your next move?" Harper settles into her shooting stance, her breathing automatically adjusting to the controlled rhythm Robert taught her years ago. "I'm not sure yet. They're scared now, but fear without consequences just creates resentment. They'll either back down completely or escalate. And if they escalate?" Harper pulls the trigger. The bullet strikes the target dead center at 100 yards. Then I'll show them what precision really means. For the next hour, Harper works through increasingly difficult shooting scenarios. She starts with stationary targets at various distances, then moves to moving targets, wind compensation exercises, and finally to Rodriguez's special challenge course, series of targets that require split-second timing and extraordinary accuracy. With each successful shot, Harper feels her confidence returning. Her vision may be compromised in daily life, but here, through the scope, she maintains absolute control. The rifle becomes an extension of her will, the target a problem to be solved with mathematical precision. "Remarkable," Rodriguez mutters as Harper completes the challenge course with a perfect score. "I've seen military snipers with less natural ability." Robert watches his daughter with a mixture of pride and growing concern. Harper's shooting has always been exceptional, but today there's something different in her approach. Her movements are more deliberate, her focus more intense, her entire demeanor more predatory. "Dad," Harper says as she cleans her rifle, "tell me about psychological operations in the military. How did you handle enemies who couldn't be engaged directly?" Robert considers his answer carefully. "Why do you want to know?" "Because Tyler and his friends exist in a social ecosystem. Direct confrontation would just make them victims in everyone else's eyes, but precision psychological pressure." Harper pauses, working oil through the rifle's action. "That could make them expose their own weaknesses." "You're thinking like a tactician," Robert observes. "That's good. But you need to understand the rules of engagement. In combat, the objective is clear: neutralize the threat. In civilian life, especially in high school, the objective should be strategic deterrence, not destruction." Harper looks up from her rifle. "What if deterrence doesn't work?" "Then you escalate strategically, with clear objectives and minimal collateral damage." Robert's voice takes on the instructional tone Harper recognizes from their training sessions. "But Harper, once you start down this path, it changes you. Your mother thinks she knows who you are, but if you become what I think you're becoming, that's going to cause problems at home. Mom wants me to be a victim who follows proper channels and hopes adults will solve my problems." Harper's voice hardens. "But proper channels don't work when the system is designed to protect the aggressors." Robert nods slowly. "Your mother grew up in a world where authority figures could be trusted to provide justice. You're growing up in a world where you have to create your own justice." He pauses. "Just make sure you can live with the consequences." As they pack up their equipment, Harper's phone buzzes with a text message. She squints at the screen, making Out Jessica's name and a brief message. Check Tyler's social media tonight. He's planning something. Harper shows the message to her father. Robert reads it with growing concern. This Jessica girl, how much do you trust her? I don't know yet. But she's been right about everything so far. Harper shoulders her rifle. Case, why would Tyler be planning something? I thought I scared them enough to back down. Fear makes some people retreat. It makes others desperate. Robert's expression darkens. Desperate people make stupid decisions. And stupid decisions create opportunities for smart people to exploit. They drive home in silence, both lost in thought. Harper stares out the window at the blurry landscape, but her mind is crystal clear. She's beginning to understand that her transformation isn't just about learning to fight back, it's about learning to think several moves ahead, to anticipate her enemy's reactions and position herself to exploit their mistakes. As they pull into their driveway, Harper makes a decision. Tonight, she investigates Tyler's social media activity. Tomorrow she'll be ready for whatever retaliation he's planning. And if Tyler wants to escalate this conflict, she'll show him what happens when someone with sniper-level precision decides to stop playing defense. The girl who had her glasses broken 2 days ago is gone. In her place is someone much more dangerous, someone who can hit any target she chooses, whether it's made of paper or flesh and blood. Robert looks at his daughter as she gathers her equipment, and for the first time since this began, he wonders if he's created something he might not be able to control. Harper's transformation is happening faster than he expected, and with an intensity that reminds him of his own evolution from civilian to soldier. The difference is that Harper's war is just beginning, and the enemy doesn't yet understand what they're facing. By the time they do, it may already be too late. That evening, Harper sits in her bedroom with her laptop, squinting at the screen as she navigates through social media. The text from Jessica burns in her memory. Tyler is planning something. She methodically checks his Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat accounts, looking for any indication of what he might be scheming. At first, his posts seem normal. Pictures of his car, complaints about homework, tagged photos with Derek and Stephanie. But then Harper notices something in the comment section of his latest post. A seemingly innocent photo of him at the local diner. Derek has commented with a series of seemingly random emojis, a clock, a house, and a target symbol. Harper's blood runs cold. She screenshots the comment and immediately texts Jessica. Found something. Clock, house, target emojis on Tyler's latest post. What does this mean? Jessica's response comes within minutes. They're planning to come to your house. The clock means timing, house is obvious, target means you. Check the timestamp on Derek's comment. Harper scrolls back to the comment. Derek posted it at 8:47 p.m., just 20 minutes ago. She realizes that Tyler's crew isn't just planning generic retaliation. They're planning something specific. Something that involves knowing where she lives and when to strike. Her phone buzzes with another message. From Jessica, don't panic. This is actually good news. They're moving from psychological warfare to physical intimidation, which means you scared them badly enough to make them stupid. Stupid enemies make mistakes. Harper stares at her phone, processing this information. Part of her wants to tell her parents, to let the adults handle this situation. But a larger part, the part that felt the intoxicating rush of power in the cafeteria, wants to handle it herself. She opens her laptop again and begins conducting reconnaissance. Using public records and social media cross-referencing, she starts mapping out Tyler's network of friends and associates. She discovers that Derek's older brother, Brandon, graduated from Jefferson High 3 years ago and has a history of assault charges that were dropped due to lack of evidence. Stephanie's ex-boyfriend, Connor Walsh, was arrested last year for vandalism but received community service instead of jail time. The pattern becomes clear. Tyler isn't just gathering his usual school friends for this retaliation. He's calling in older, More dangerous allies who won't hesitate to escalate beyond typical teenage bullying. Harper's bedroom door creaks open, and Patricia peeks inside. "Honey, are you feeling all right? You've been very quiet since you got home." From the range, "I'm fine, Mom, just working on homework." Harper quickly minimizes her browser windows, not wanting to alarm her mother. Patricia steps into the room, her maternal instincts clearly triggered. "Harper, I know things have been difficult since your glasses were broken, but I want you to know that we're handling this through proper channels. I spoke with Principal Morrison today, and he's going to have a meeting with Tyler's parents." Harper looks up at her mother, seeing the worry lines that have deepened around Patricia's eyes over the past few days. "What did Principal Morrison say?" "He said that the school takes bullying very seriously, and there will be consequences for Tyler and his friends. He also mentioned that the district might be able to help with the cost of your replacement classes through their emergency assistance fund." Harper feels a surge of frustration. While her mother is pursuing bureaucratic solutions, Tyler is organizing what amounts to a home invasion. The disconnect between the adult world's slow-moving procedures and the immediate reality of teenage warfare has never been clearer. "That's good, Mom. I'm sure it will all work out." Harper forces a smile, not wanting to worry Patricia further. After her mother leaves, Harper returns to her research. She discovers that Tyler's house has a security system. She can see the company's sign in the background of several photos he's posted. Derek lives with his grandmother in a neighborhood without streetlights, making it difficult to approach undetected. Stephanie's family has a dog, a large German Shepherd that appears in multiple photos. But most importantly, Harper realizes that Tyler's crew's planning their move for Friday night. She pieces this together from various social media clues. Derek posting about having the weekend off from his grocery store job, Stephanie mentioning that her parents will be out of town, and Tyler sharing a photo of his mother's BMW with the caption, "Borrowing Mom's car for a special mission." Harper's phone buzzes with a call from Jessica. She answers on the second ring. "Have you figured out their timeline?" Jessica asks without preamble. "Friday night. They're planning something for Friday night." Harper keeps her voice low, conscious that her parents are still awake downstairs. "Good. That gives us time to prepare." "Harper, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. How far are you willing to go to protect yourself?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Harper realizes that Jessica is asking her to cross a line to move from psychological intimidation to something more serious. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting that you have skills most people don't possess. You can hit a target at 200 yards with surgical precision. You understand tactics in psychological warfare. Most importantly, you have justification. They started this conflict, they escalated it, and now they're planning to bring it to your home." Harper feels her heart racing. "You're talking about using my rifle. I'm talking about using your abilities. There are ways to neutralize threats without causing permanent harm, but the threat of permanent harm needs to be real. Otherwise, they'll just keep escalating until someone gets seriously hurt." Harper considers this logic. Tyler's crew is bringing older, more dangerous people into the conflict. If she doesn't establish clear dominance now, the situation will spiral beyond her control. "What do you have in mind?" Jessica's voice takes on a conspiratorial tone. "Friday night, when they come to your house, you need to be ready for them. But not inside your house that puts your parents at risk. You need to intercept them before they reach your property." "How?" "The same way a sniper handles any target. From a concealed position with a clear field of fire. You demonstrate your capabilities without actually using them. Show them that you could eliminate any or all of them at will, but choose not to because you're merciful." Harper's mind races through the tactical implications. Her house sits on a wooded lot with good sight lines from multiple positions. The neighbors are far enough away that a rifle shot wouldn't immediately alert them, especially with a suppressor. She could easily establish overwatch on any approach route. Jessica, what you're describing is self-defense, Jessica interrupts. They're planning to commit criminal trespass, possibly assault. You have every legal right to defend your home and family. The fact that you choose to use intimidation rather than violence makes you the reasonable party in this conflict. Harper realizes that Jessica is right about the legal aspects. In Connecticut, homeowners have significant protections when defending their property. But more importantly, she's tired of being reactive. Tyler's crew has controlled the tempo of this conflict from the beginning. It's time to seize the initiative. All right, Harper says finally. But I do this my way, with my rules. No permanent damage, no actual violence unless they force it. This is about sending a message, not starting a war, understood. Harper, there's one more thing you need to know. Tyler's older brother came home from college yesterday. Jake Brennan, 20 years old, expelled from State University for assault. He's been posting on social media about teaching some high school bitch a lesson. Harper's blood turns to ice. Jake Brennan is no longer a teenage bully. He's an adult with a criminal history who's willing to assault a minor. The stakes of Friday night just became exponentially higher. How do you know all this? Because I've been researching them since the day I met you. I told you I know what it's like to be underestimated, Harper. What I didn't tell you is that I also know what it's like to make people pay for that mistake. Harper realizes that Jessica's involvement in her situation isn't coincidental. There's something calculated about the way Jessica appeared in her life just when she needed guidance. Something deliberate about the way she's been pushing Harper toward increasingly aggressive responses. Who are you really, Jessica? I'm someone who believes that predators should fear their prey. And Harper, you're about to become the most dangerous prey Tyler Brennan has ever encountered. As Harper hangs up the phone, she stares out her bedroom window at the dark woods surrounding her house. Tomorrow she'll begin preparing for Friday night. She'll select her position, check her equipment, and plan her approach. Tyler's crew thinks they're hunting a helpless girl whose glasses they broke. They're about to discover they're actually being hunted by someone whose precision extends far beyond anything they can imagine. Friday night arrives with a cold autumn wind that rustles through the maple trees surrounding the Collins property. Harper lies prone on a rocky outcropping 200 yards from her house, her rifle positioned with military precision. She's wearing dark clothing and has smeared mud on her face to break up her silhouette techniques her father taught her during their wilderness training sessions. Through her scope, Harper has a perfect view of the long driveway leading to her house. Her parents are inside, unaware of the danger approaching. Patricia is reading in the living room while Robert works in his basement workshop, the sound of his machinery masking any approaching vehicles. At 10:47 p.m., Harper spots headlights turning onto their rural road. Her heart rate increases, but her breathing remains controlled. She's been in position for 3 hours, and her body has settled into the patient stillness that separates true marksmen from amateurs. The vehicle Tyler's mother's BMW stops at the end of the driveway, its occupants clearly surveying the house. Harper adjusts her scope and counts 4 figures inside. Through the crosshairs, she can make out Tyler in the driver's seat, Derek in the passenger side, and 2 larger figures in the back, undoubtedly Jake Brennan and one of his college friends. Phone vibrates with a text from Jessica. Are you in position? Harper types back, yes, 4 targets confirmed. Older males in back seat. Remember, you control the situation now. Make them understand what precision means. Harper watches as the car doors open. Tyler and Derek emerge first, followed by Jake, a larger, more muscular version of his younger brother. The 4th figure is someone Harper doesn't recognize, but his movements suggest military or athletic training. They begin walking up the driveway, and Harper can hear their voices carrying on the cold air. Jake's voice dominates the conversation, outlining their plan to teach the little bitch some manners and show her what happens when you threaten Tyler. Harper adjusts her scope's crosshairs, centering them on Jake's chest. At this distance, with no wind and perfect visibility, she could place a bullet anywhere she chooses with absolute certainty. The power is intoxicating and terrifying at the same time. When the group reaches the halfway point of the driveway, Harper makes her move. She fires a single shot into the gravel 3 feet in front of Jake's boots. The crack of the rifle echoes through the night, and all 4 intruders freeze instantly. "What the hell?" Jake begins, but his words are cut off by Harper's voice, amplified by the small megaphone she borrowed from her father's emergency kit. "Stop where you are. You are trespassing on private property and have been targeted by a precision rifle." The 4 figures look around frantically, trying to locate the source of the voice. Harper remains perfectly still, invisible in her concealed position. "This is Harper Collins. Tyler, Derek, you came to my house to intimidate me. Instead, you've walked into a kill zone." Tyler's voice cracks as he calls out, "Harper, we just want to talk." "No, you don't." Harper's response is calm and clinical. "You came here with Jake Brennan, who was expelled from college for assault. You came here with weapons. I can see the baseball bat in Derek's hand and the tire iron Jake is carrying. You came here to commit multiple felonies." Jake tries to assert control. "Listen, you crazy bitch, put down whatever toy gun you're playing." With end, Harper's second shot cuts off his words, this time striking the ground 6 inches from his left foot. Jake jumps back, finally understanding the reality of his situation. "That was a warning shot, placed exactly where I intended. The next shot will be center mass unless you leave immediately." "You're bluffing," Jake snarls, but his voice betrays his uncertainty. "Some high school girl with a hunting rifle doesn't scare me." Harper's third shot demonstrates the futility of Jake's bravado. She puts a bullet through the BMW's front tire. The precision of the shot hitting a target the size of a silver dollar in near darkness, sending an unmistakable message about her capabilities. "I can hit anything I choose to hit," Harper announces. "Right now, I'm choosing to hit inanimate objects." That choice could change very quickly. Derek starts backing toward the car. "Jake, man, we should go. This is insane." "She's just some kid with her daddy's gun," Jake insists. But he's also retreating. Harper's fourth shot punches a hole through the car's rear window, missing Jake's head by less than 2 feet as he ducks behind the vehicle. Jake Brennan, 20 years old, current address 1247 Elm Street, apartment 3B, arrested twice for assault, expelled from State University for attacking his roommate. "I know where you live, where you work, where you buy your groceries." Harper's voice carries across the night with mechanical precision. "I can place a bullet anywhere within a quarter-mile radius of this position. Do you really want to test my patience further?" The psychological impact is devastating. Jake realizes that Harper isn't just some scared teenager with a gun. She's a trained marksman who has thoroughly researched her targets and established tactical superiority. "Tyler," Jake hisses, "you didn't tell me she was a fucking sniper." "I didn't know." Tyler's voice is high with panic. Harper continues her psychological assault. "Derek Martinez, you're standing next to a vehicle with 3 flat tires. Check your rear passenger side." Jake Brennan, the tire iron in your right hand makes you a more immediate threat, which moves you higher on my target priority list. Unknown. Subject, your attempts to flank my position by moving toward the tree line have been observed and are futile. Indeed, Harper has been tracking all of their movements through her scope. The fourth intruder had been trying to circle around to find her position, but Harper's elevated vantage point gives her overwatch on all possible approaches. "What do you want?" Tyler finally asks, his earlier bravado completely gone. "I want you to understand that breaking my glasses was the worst mistake you ever made. Not because it hurt me, but because it forced me to rely on skills you never knew I possessed. Harper pauses, letting this sink in. I want you to understand that I could have killed all four of you before you reached the front door. I chose. Not to because I'm not a murderer, but I am someone who solves problems with precision. Jake makes one last attempt to salvage his dignity. This isn't over, bitch. Harper's fifth shot removes Jake's baseball cap, the bullet passing close enough to his scalp to part his hair. The message is unmistakable. She could have taken his head off instead. Yes, it is over, Harper replies. Because now you know what I'm capable of. You know that I can reach out and touch you anytime, anywhere, from distances you can't even imagine. You know that threatening me or my family again would be the last mistake you ever make. The four intruders retreat to their damaged vehicle. Jake and his friend having to push it while Tyler steers, and Derek runs alongside. The flat tires make their escape slow and humiliating, the rims scraping against asphalt as they struggle to reach the main road. Harper remains in position until their taillights disappear, then begins the methodical process of policing her brass and cleaning her position. She's fired 5 shots, each one precisely placed to maximum psychological effect with 0 permanent damage to human targets. As she walks back toward her house, Harper's phone rings. It's Jessica. How did it go? It's over. They understand now that I'm not someone they can intimidate. Harper feels a strange mixture of exhilaration and exhaustion. They'll never bother me again. No, they won't. But Harper, you need to understand what you've become tonight. You've crossed a line that most people never even approach. You've used lethal skills for psychological warfare, and you've discovered you're very good at it. Harper considers this as she approaches her house. Through the windows, she can see her parents exactly where she left them, Patricia reading, Robert working, both blissfully unaware of how close they came to a violent confrontation. Do you regret it? Jessica asks. Harper thinks about Tyler's terrified face, Jake's humiliating retreat, Derek's obvious understanding that he had escaped death by inches. She thinks about the power she felt behind the rifle scope, the absolute control she wielded over the situation. No, Harper says finally. I don't regret it at all. 3 months later, Harper walks through Jefferson High School wearing brand new prescription glasses, courtesy of the insurance settlement her parents received after filing a police report about the damaged vehicle and trespassing incident. Tyler Brennan transferred to a private school across town. Derek Martinez moved to live with relatives in another state. Jake Brennan left Connecticut entirely after rumors spread about his humiliating encounter with a teenage girl. Stephanie Walsh still attends Jefferson High, but she gives Harper a wide berth, understanding instinctively that some people are more dangerous than they appear. Harper has returned to being a quiet, studious teenager who excels in her classes and maintains perfect shooting scores at the range. But now, when other students look at her, they see something different. They see someone who solved her problems with precision, someone who transformed from victim to apex predator in a matter of days. And in the back of everyone's mind is the knowledge that Harper Collins is not someone you want to underestimate. Because when Bullies broke her glasses, they discovered that her true vision had nothing to do with what she could see, and everything to do with what she could hit. Jessica Chun transferred schools again 2 weeks later, her work in Millbrook complete. But her lessons remain with Harper, who learned that sometimes the most precise weapon of all is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're capable of ending any threat that comes your way. The girl who once cowered from bullies now walks with the calm assurance of someone who has faced her enemies and emerged victorious. And everyone at Jefferson High School learned a valuable lesson about precision. It's not just about hitting targets. It's about knowing when to pull the trigger, and more importantly, when not to. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.